Good morning, friends. Thank you all for your patience. Sorry for taking so long. A lot of technical difficulties this morning. Operator error, mostly. Good morning, guys. I don't know how to operate, so that's all on me, but we'll get it figured out for next week. I'll give folks a minute to jump on. Like usual, let us know who's with us. Go ahead and check in. Steve Adams says, good morning, Jeff. Steve, thanks for sticking with us. Sheila says, glad we're launched now. Thanks for persisting. Thank you, Sheila. The cavalcade of failure with me and technology. It's just another installment of my weekly humiliation, trying to be the most crap televangelist in Christendom. David, thank you, David. Thanks for jumping on. George Littleton said, Bro and George are in the house. I was glad. He said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Man, one of my favorite lines from the Psalms. Claudette Tennant says, good morning. Thanks for being here, Claudette. One of my favorite lines from the Psalms, man. I can't wait for the day when we got a full church again and I get to say that line from the Psalms in the opening sentences. Kathy Friedenreich says, happy Pentecost. Y'all are the best. Thank y'all for sticking with me. Hey, just as we're getting going here, when y'all watch the worship video this week, I want to thank Emily Von Gall and Laura Meadows for figuring out a great balloon placement. We weren't sure how we're going to keep our balloon tradition going for online church, and they figured out a great setting for it. So I appreciate them doing that. Mary Kate Anabonet says, good morning. Morning, Anabonet crew. Russell Miller, good morning from the Millers. All right, I'll give a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Thank you guys again for sticking with me. Parish administrator, top of the morning. Top of the morning indeed. Happy Pentecost, team. Mark Howell says, good morning, everyone. All right, as we're getting started, I'm really happy to be with you guys this morning and to keep our fellowship going. Charlotte Harris says, good morning to all. It's been a strange weekend and a sad weekend. I'm sure, like me, many of y'all have been taking in some very disturbing images from social media, and so it's a sad time with everything going on in our country and with the ARC virus going on. And so I'm not sure what to do with everything that's happening. In this moment, like a lot of other moments, I feel pretty powerless. And I feel, somewhat unengaged by the kind of repetitive talking points, debates that we tend to have around these topics. I'm going to go by the gathering this afternoon and see if anything emerges that we can be a part of. And also think I felt really strongly that I need to be in prayer in the last few weeks about, I'm going to add for the next few days at least, and I hope I stick with it, a prayer for what is God's will for us to be a part of the healing that needs to happen in our the false idol of racial difference and racism to divide us for for a long time? And how do we, like St. Paul, preach the gospel in such a profound way that it shatters these lines of differences and joins us together in a unity of people, distinct people who are made one? And I'm doing a lot of thinking about that for my sermon next Sunday about the Trinity. So I think this is a time for prayer, a time to turn to God in prayer, knowing full well that God answers our prayers and prepares work for us to do. So Mickey Farmer says, good morning. Glad you're with us, Mickey and Bill. I'm going to go ahead and open us in prayer, and then I got a couple tunes I want to share. The Lord be with you. In a sad weekend, Lord, we turn to you in prayer, and we ask that your will would become our will, that you'd give us hearts to serve and to seek, that divisions would fall as they fell in the first century and have fallen so many times throughout your church, and direct our hearts and our minds and our bodies and our lives to be used. Come, Holy Spirit, on this day of Pentecost, and make us your faithful servants. Lord, make us eager to serve you and to follow you into new ways, into new conversations, into the places that you would send us, Lord. Amen. Okay, thank you guys for sticking with me through my cavalcade of failure. That's what we should call our coffee hour. We should call it a cavalcade. Special guest this time, because first of all, how do you follow Jeff Stallworth? I don't know how anybody can do it. And so I'm going to take one for the team and follow Jeff Stallworth. And I want to start by doing a John Prine song. You know, John Prine passed away, the great, I think it was a month or so ago now. And I'm a big John Prine fan, and due respect to all the great singer-songwriters. But that first record, John Prine's first record, is as good as anything Bob Dylan ever produced. And I'm sticking with that. All right, I'd love to talk to somebody about that. But in that first record that John Prine did, there's a song called Spanish Pipe Dream, which to me is one of the greatest praise songs ever written. And so it's one of my favorite songs, and I'm going to do Spanish Pipe Dream, my version of it. She was a level-headed tailor on the road, and these are the words she spoke: blow up the TV, throw away the paper, move to the country, build you a home, have a life, plant a little garden, eat a lot of peaches, try and find Jesus on your own. Sat there at the table, acted real naive. I knew that topless lady had something up her sleeve. She danced around the barroom, she did the hoochie coo. She sang her song all night long, just telling me what to do. Blow up your TV, throw away your paper, move to the country, build you a home, plant a little garden, eat a lot of peaches, try and find Jesus on your own. About to leave that place, just as I was leaving, she looked me in the face. I said, you must know the answer. She said, no, but I'll give it a try. This very day we've been living our way, and here is the reason why. We blew up the TV, throw away our paper, went to the country, built us a home, had a lot of children, fed them on peaches, they all found Jesus on their own. All right, guys, thank you all for listening to that. Our our kids have been singing that, and even out in the front yard, which is really just makes me proud. All right, Charlie Block says, great worship this AM. Thank you, Charlie. William Walsh, good morning from Bill and Josie Walsh. Chris Old says, very good. You're a kind soul, Chris Old. Robbie Lackey, 5 for 5 on Sunday school. 5 for 5. Let's keep this streak going. Robbie Lackey says, for some reason today's coffee talk reminds me of Max Headroom. I like that. I am up on the camera today. Sheila Meta says there's an invitation from the Union of Black Episcopalians to join a Zoom vigil today for racial justice and the healing of our nation from 3 to 4 p.m. Sheila, if you've got the if you got a website or a way for people to find that Zoom link, or maybe you can post a Zoom link in the comment section, that would be really helpful. The Union of Black Episcopalians is a really good group. They've done cool stuff throughout the years, and Mary Olson from our church has been involved with them recently. So I think that would probably be a really meaningful thing for people to tune into. Okay, so I'm gonna follow up John Prine with one of my favorite hymns by Charles Wesley. It's hymn number 493 in your hymnal, and it's just one of the most amazing bits of Christian musical writing of all time. I don't play it very well, but it is a beautiful hymn that's close to my heart. So I'm going to do hymn number 493, Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing. Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing, my dear Redeemer's praise, the glories of my God and King, the triumphs of His grace. My gracious Master and my God, assist me to proclaim and spread through all the earth abroad the honors of thy name. Jesus, the name that charms our fears and bids our sorrows cease. 'Tis music in the sinner's ear, 'tis life and health and peace. He speaks, and listening to His voice, new life the dead receive. The mournful, broken hearts rejoice, the humble poor believe. Hear Him, ye deaf, ye voiceless ones, your loosened tongues employ. Ye blind, behold, your Savior comes, and leap ye lame for joy. Glory to God, and praise and love be now and ever near. Dear church, you'll go, and saints above, the church in earth and heaven. All right, thank y'all, and thanks be to God. A really exciting announcement that I want to share with y'all this morning, and I hope you have questions about it. Bishop Sloan sent an email on Friday extending the suspension of indoor in-person worship through the end of next month, but said churches can go ahead with outdoor worship. So next Sunday, we're going to work very hard this week to have a 9 a.m. outdoor service of worship on the event lawn, and you're going to need to sign up. There's going to be a link to sign up on the Wednesday email. And this is very important, the next bit I'm about to say. Hopefully this indoor worship goes well and the virus stays contained more or less in our county. But for the foreseeable future, if you come to worship, you have got to sign up ahead of time. That's not only so we can maintain social distance as we worship, but also there were some I thought very helpful guidelines for faith communities that the CDC put out, and they recommend that churches try to have records that would allow them to contact trace after a worship service. Meaning, y'all heard this term, but meaning that we're going to ask everyone. And there's going to be a lot more information that comes out this week, so you don't have to get it all in one sitting. But we're going to ask everyone to keep us informed that if they start experiencing flu-like symptoms and then they test positive for COVID and they've been to worship, we're going to take upon ourselves to contact everyone who has been to a worship service. In order to do that, we have to have you sign up. And also, we need sign up so we can make sure people are spaced out throughout the event lawn as we do this. So sign-ups are going to be critical. I'm going to ask people to wear masks and do various other things that we'll put out in the week to come. It's going to be a short service. It is going to be communion of only bread. We're working very hard to figure out how we can distribute the bread in the safest means possible. But and I want to say this. I want to be clear about this. You may want to come back to worship, but just don't feel that the time is right. And there may be some people who want to come back to worship who are just not quite ready to take communion. No one's going to have to take communion at the service on Sunday. In fact, it'll be very easy and not awkward to not take communion. So I don't want anyone to feel like they have to rush back to come to worship. And then the people who do come to worship, you don't need no one. I don't want you to what we that is what we are working on, and I just wanted to keep you updated on that. Also, let me say that when we put this sign up out, I'm hoping it's the case that we're going to have more people who want to come to worship this next Sunday at 9 a.m. than we have room for. That would be a thanks be to God thing. It'd be sad for the people who can't come, but it'd be thanks be to God thing because it means people are ready to get back to worship. And also, the church hadn't had pent up demand in a very long time. It was a terrible joke. So all that to say, if you try to sign up this week for this coming Sunday worship and you're not able to, I'm very sorry for that in advance. And if that happens, then we're going to add additional services as quick as we can. It is a lot of work on your staff and your lay leaders, your altar guild, your various guilds that support the life of the church to launch brand new services that we've never done before. So we're just going to try to launch one a week. And if we have to keep launching one a week to meet all the capacity needs of the congregation, then that's what we're going to endeavor to do. But we want the service to be beautiful, organized, and we want it to be a week just from a capacity and bandwidth perspective. But that's our plan, and I'm very excited about it. And we're going to start slow on this return to worship and just see what the Spirit does, see how it feels, see how the virus progresses in our county. And I should say, if we have a spike in our county the way that they've had in Montgomery recently, then we'll probably suspend that in-person outdoor worship for a while and then bring it back when the virus is back under control. We're going to keep doing our online worship. So if you've been enjoying the online worship that we put up on our YouTube channel, keep watching it. We're working hard. We love doing it. We love the fact that you guys are watching it. So that's not going to go away. This is just another option. In fact, I think we're going to be doing online worship. We're going to be putting stuff up on our YouTube channel forever. That's never going to stop. And I love it. So that's just a little bit of information, and I hope you're hungry for more, and we're going to give you more this week. But that's what we're thinking this coming Sunday. Socially distanced, outdoor worship, communion, just bread, sign up going out on the weekly email. So I hope the comment section is still working. Please let me know if you have any questions about that for the good of the order. Be to God. Yeah. Okay. Great question. Holy Trinity Auburn asked Jeff, should we on this? I think we should start the most cautious. So yes, I'm going to ask people to wear to wear masks. But it's also going to be really hot. Okay. Well, I don't know that, but it could be hot, right? Summer in Alabama at 9 a.m. So if you can't breathe, if you're sort of like you're going to pass out, I don't want people passing out because they're wearing masks, right? Use your best discretion. But I think to start out, let's be the most cautious that we can be. And also, I think are wearing masks. There's the whole kind of mask debate kind of over on this side that the world and the state is having, and that's not my job. I don't want to speak to that. But I can talk about it from a church perspective, and part of what we do in the church is that we build up the church, right? So we take actions in the church that are meant to enable our worship and build it up. That's what St. Paul talks about as the way to enter into the conflicts around the Corinthian church. So if masks help us to come together for in-person worship, which I'm hungry to do, and they make the people around us comfortable, let's start there. But I don't want anybody passing out because they can't breathe because they're too hot. And I'll defer to you on that. Kay and Gate say, Jeff, thanks for all you do. Be safe. Claudette Tennant said, this is exciting news. Holy Trinity Auburn says, do we stand or bring our own chairs? It feels like we're doing a comedy duo up here. Yes, please bring your own chairs, but also feel free to stand. This is going to be a short service. Okay. This is like, actually some kind of interesting stuff is going on here. So we are very accustomed to about a 45-minute to an hour long service, music, pews, start, stop, orderly. That's very Western. That's very mainline Protestant, but it's not the only way people have worshiped Jesus. In fact, it's not even the predominant way people have worshiped Jesus. When you go to the Holy Land and you worship in any of the number of Orthodox churches that are there, people kind of are standing around the whole area. They're coming in and out, and the service is just going on. So we're actually going to be doing some what feel to us kind of strange, but are actually just a lot of like pre-Reformation practices of the church. So it is very traditional on the life of Christianity to stand for worship. So, but again, bring a chair if you want a chair. But also standing is perfectly appropriate. And again, it's going to be a short service. Charlotte Harris says, thanks for keeping us connected. Kathy Friedman says, will the service next Sunday be recorded? Okay, Kathy, great question. We are not going to record the outdoor service, 9 a.m. outdoor service, but we will record a Sunday worship video like we've been doing for the last 3 months. We're going to keep doing that for the foreseeable future. In my way of thinking, phase one of our response to the pandemic has been no in-person worship, all online. We are moving into phase two, which is online worship with a limited capacity in-person component. And even when we get to phase 3, which will be enough in-person worship for everybody who wants to worship in person, we're not going to go with the online. We're not going to do away with the online worship. Even when we move to phase 4, which is more or less back to a new normal, right? A full church, probably without handshaking. Probably some practices around communion rethought. A lot of different things are going to be rethought in that phase 4. Even when we move to that phase 4, whenever that is, we're still going to be recording worship. So I don't think it's ever going away, because it has really been a beautiful thing to hear people who are now connected to our parish who are not geographically resident in Auburn, Opelika, and even people who are geographically resident in Auburn and Opelika, but just can't make it to church. A lot of people who just don't feel well, or are just battling sickness, or just the difficulty of old age, and then people who are traveling, right? So we're going to keep doing that. I'm so glad you asked that. Thank you. Any other questions, team? Couple or 3 minutes left. All right, just a little funny for as people are thinking about questions over the last 2 or 3 minutes. I hope y'all saw on our YouTube channel the Ascension Jesus video. Derek gave us all these little Ascension plastic Jesus figurines that have a little suction cup. You push them down, and I did a little video where Ascension Jesus ascended up out of the screen. I'm pretty sure that video has had more views than any of my Bible studies. It's okay. It's all right. It's not taking it personally. It is Jesus after. Okay, friends, thank you all for sticking with me with my cavalcade of technological operation. And I hope you got questions. Shoot me an email if you have any particular questions, but then also look. George Littleton says, we pretty much tried to model our life together after that classic prime pipe dream number, except Hoti and the BCP have also helped us find. Couldn't agree more, George. I love that. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Like I said, lots of more information to come, but we're in an exciting phase, and let's continue to be in prayer for our nation and discern what God's will is for us in the coming days. Let me close. Let me close with a kind of prayer and a blessing. Lord, thank you for this, your church. Thank you for the fellowship that we have. You didn't think you would sustain or could, that we were afraid that we wouldn't be able to